back, guys, to another episode of Unhinged FC. Again, just Hector and Kelsey here with you today, guys. Hector from Insert Name FC, Kelsey from the High Low Sports Podcast. We are going to be talking all things Champions League on this beautiful Wednesday. We have two games matched up for us: Byron versus Lazio. This one's kind of ugly. Got a little out of hand in the leg one, 4-1 aggregate for Byron, and they are heading home to, well, let's just say a place where they are even more terrifying than they already normally are. So 4 away goals to the 1 home goal for Lazio. Good luck, Lazio. We'll get into that one in a minute. And in the other matchup in this one, a very, very compelling game. Chelsea versus Atletico Madrid. Chelsea missing 2 of their key players in this one. However, they are getting N'Golo Kante back, and they did get a chance to rest some of their big names heading into this tie. Whereas Atletico Madrid obviously going to be fighting back, as this one is 1-0 on aggregate to Chelsea, as they do head to Stamford Bridge for this one. So this will be a very interesting game going forward, but we'll get to that one later, guys. Hector, Bayern Munich, Lazio. I mean, what do we have? We all thought Lazio might stand a little bit of a chance. I obviously don't think any of us thought he would win, but 4-1. Did we really believe that's a possibility? I don't think I remember any of us even coming close to saying this is going to be a 4-1 game away.
I think there was a lot of hesitation because obviously we didn't want another Porto incident. But I mean, if there's one team that can do it, it's Bayern Munich. I mean, I thought somehow Juventus could have been a heavy favorite for this tournament, and clearly I'm wrong. And maybe I think it's just because I just it's so hard to repeat. And I know I'm as a Real Madrid fan. It's we've seen teams repeat in the Champions League, but it's not an easy task. Champions League is a very difficult tournament, especially when you're also piling in your season. But then when you're Bayern Munich and you have such a strong lead in your league, that it's probably going to be very difficult to be touched unless you just go off and just stink it off for the rest of this month. You kind of really get to focus on Champions League, and I mean, I maybe it was just me trying not to think that Bayern Munich can repeat, but I think they definitely look like they can repeat, especially how the rest of these clubs are looking. All the top, I guess the contenders, if you will, are looking like they should be, and Bayern Munich is the only true contender that still looks like the true contenders. And I mean, they handled their business. They beat Lazio 4-1. I think that honestly, that's how they should handle their business. No offense to Lazio, but they're not really that much of a competition for Bayern Munich.
Yeah, no, I mean, to your point, I'm just going to list off some interesting stat lines that are going against Lazio going into this leg. First of all, Italian sides have lost each of their last 4 away Champions League visits to Bayern. This is also the first time that anybody has faced Bayern away, any Italian club has faced Bayern away since the away loss by Juve 4-2 at Bayern, and that was in 2016 in the last of 16. That's stat number 1. Number 2, Lazio have only won one of their last 15 away games in the Champions League, drawing 5, losing 9, and winless in the last 8 during that run. I mean, that last win came back in 2003 against Besiktas. So it's been a minute. And then the most terrifying one, since Flick has taken over Bayern Munich, they have won 6 home games in the Champions League by an aggregate of 18-3.
The crazy part is someone actually scored 3.
Yeah, exactly. The last one being Chelsea 4-1 at home. So Chelsea did sneak one back, and that was, I mean, that was last season. So that's a Chelsea team that could attack. But everything is going against you if you're Lazio. I mean, there's not a single thing I can say about this to make it seem like they have a strong chance, because, as you mentioned, Bayern is the only team that seems to be able to have that killer instinct of, when we have a lead, we're going to keep piling on that lead. And the next closest maybe is Man City, in my eyes, as far as who's actually performing as one of the big dogs right now. And that's only as of late. I mean, if you had asked me Man City during the group stages, I'd have been like, I don't know, man. I'm not sure, but Byron here is just
I mean, Bayern. Not only that with Bayern, like they can maintain a lead, but this is also a team that even if you have a 2 goal lead against this team, you probably shouldn't count out Bayern Munich. They're gonna come back and they're gonna come back with full force. I mean, Borussia Dortmund could probably tell you that pretty well.
yeah,
It's a lot easier if everyone was here for this, but but
yeah,
it's the truth, man. I mean, Bayern Munich is just it's a class of its own. I mean, I feel like we're committed to so much time to Bayern Munich, but that's just the way it is. I mean, and crazy enough, it doesn't even matter who they have in their lineup. They could probably bench Lewandowski. They could, maybe put Mueller up top instead of Lewandowski. You don't have to have Leroy Sané on the right. Maybe you put in Kingsley Coleman over there. Maybe you can do just so much with this team because they are just stacked. Like their bench could be starting elsewhere, and that's
yeah.
just the crazy part about this. And it works for Bayern Munich. It's you don't hear that many gripes or issues. Um, and I'm sure they want to make a last good run, especially for certain players like Alaba or Boateng, who seem like they're going to be leaving Bayern Munich, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because I'm sure Bayern Munich already has somebody in their in their sights that they're going to use to basically replace these guys. Um, but this team is just stacked everywhere. Their back line is disgusting. Their midfield is disgusting. And mind you, they got rid of Thiago,
Yeah,
and
yeah. One of the best midfielders in the game. One of the most beautiful passers of the ball as well. And they're just
you
like,
know,
you're expendable.
and then up front is dangerous. We know what Lewandowski can do. And then of course in between the sticks, one of the best goalkeepers not only in Germany's history, in the Bundesliga's history, but in Europe's history. I mean, this guy was almost a Ballon d'Or winner, um,
yeah,
Manuel Neuer. And I mean, so this team is just it's it's just that this team is just so good.
yeah,
And it's gonna be a lot for Lazio to come back from one this deficit, and not only that, but 4 away goals. It's not just a four like I mean it's a 3 goal lead, but with 4 away goals to deal with. I mean, they're gonna have to shut Bayern Munich down. They have to somehow keep this team quiet, which is very difficult to do. And somehow manage to get a big win.
yeah. I mean, you talk about their bench for Bayern. Just off the last game, Musiala, Jamal Musiala, he set a record for youngest English goal scorer in Champions League history. He's a bench player. He's a squad guy. He wears 42 for a reason, and it's not because that's his favorite number. He doesn't want to rep Jackie Robinson. No, he's a squad guy, and he's coming in and being like, yeah, I'm here, guys. I'm gonna go score a couple goals. Welcome me. And their substitute bench: Javi Martinez, Chupo Moting, Sar, Lucas. I mean, all guys that came in to play in this last match, and you're just kind of like, oh yeah, I forgot they had that guy. Oh yeah, I forgot they had that guy. Oh man, they have that guy. Crap. And you talk about Lewandowski. I mean, the guy covers up 99% of any wounds that Bayern can have in attack. You just get him the ball and watch what'll happen. And we were talking about before we went on air about how good they are and how this is kind of a team that's what are they going to do going forward, because they had a guy like Thomas Muller who just doesn't play 99% of the time. Like, he comes off the bench for you, and that's a guy that really for any other team in the world probably has a starting job. I mean, very very few teams he would not start on right now, I feel like. And he's sitting here coming off the bench playing 20 minutes, 30 minutes, linking up attacks, scoring, getting goals scored, whether he scores them or he assists in the play. It's terrifying. I mean, this team just is not fair. Literally is not fair when you compare it to what they can do on all sides of the ball. And nothing against Lazio. I mean, they have a strong attack. Immobile, Correa, Marsic, Andres Pereira, Luis Alberto, Lucas Leiva. I mean, everybody forgets Lucas is still playing at a high quality clip right now. Pepe Reina still playing at a high quality clip as a keeper. Allowed 4 goals. I mean, this team is, they're not down by any means. They're not a slouch to face against Lazio, but Bayern Munich is just too strong at the end of the day. And that's I feel like we're focusing a lot on them, but it's hard not to when everything comes up Bayern, it feels like. I mean, every loose ball bounces Bayern's way. Every 50-50 claim is going back to Bayern. I mean, it's just it reminds me of Barcelona in the Pep Guardiola tiki taka. Spain is at the peak of their existence type of moments where those late 2000s where they were just everything was on top. That's just exactly how Bayern feels right now. Is it just feels like everything they do is right. I mean, it all comes up Bayern when you turn the cards. It's crazy to watch, and you're just sitting here and we're watching some of the most fantastic teams we've ever seen in the history of the game over the last 20 years. When we talk about that Barcelona team, we talk about Man City, we talk about this Bayern team, and maybe this Bayern team might be the best of them all because they've been doing this since the Barcelona era with a different manager then, with a different squad then, with Mario Gomez there. They've been doing it since there, all the way to now with Lewandowski, with a whole nother manager. They've gone through I don't even know how many managers over the time, and they're still competitive every year. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's freaky. It's terrifying. I think we talked about enough of them, so let's go ahead and get to it. What's your prediction for this one? I mean, obviously 4-1 Bayern leading into this one, 4 away goals. How do you have it finishing, and does Bayern hold on?
I don't necessarily know. I don't necessarily believe that Bayern's gonna go. I'm sure they'll get themselves probably put themselves in a comfortable lead and then just kind of coast it out. This isn't a game where they really need to, let alone risk taking any big shots, because that this is kind of in the bag for them, and I think that Byron. And this is gonna sound horrible because I'm saying take it easy, but for them, this is taking it easy. I think they're gonna come out with a 3-0 win.
Yeah, um, they get to play freely, and that's the big deal. Anytime you get to play freely, and honestly, you'll probably see if guys like Lewandowski and them start. I expect to only see them for 60 minutes. Especially with this new sub rule, you can get 4 subs in. Why not run them for 60 minutes, get their legs loose, get them ready for the just kind of prove a point, if you will. So yeah, 3-0 is not it's not out of the realm of possibility, and that's what's even more terrifying about this is they're taking it easy, scoring 3 goals, because they are wholeheartedly one of those teams that can put up 8, and you would still feel like they could have done better. But for me, I kind of have this one going along the same lines. I have it 3-1. I do have Lazio nicking an away goal. Probably it's going to be a Mobile, just because he seems to just manage to pop up in the weirdest positions in the attack and sneak one home. It wouldn't surprise me if it's something like the sweeper keeper moment where Neuer is caught off for the first time in 8 months, where you're just expecting him to always get caught off and he never does. But I do have this one ending 3-1, and Bayern comfortably advances 7-2 on aggregate because that's just what Bayern does. I feel
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
But we'll be right back, guys. We're gonna go check with our network partners, and we will come back to talk Chelsea versus Atletico Madrid in this one, and that should be a very exciting matchup. So we'll be back.
What's up, everybody? It's Kelsey from the High Low Sports Podcast. If you missed the brand new news, we have partnered with Fanatics.com. So if you're in the market for a brand new t-shirt, brand new hoodie, brand new jersey, no matter the team, no matter the player, no matter the sport, Fanatics.com is your place to stop. Not only does this help support our podcast, but it helps support the entire Unhinged Sports Network. Check the link in our bio or go to unhingedsn.com. I'll be having DJ in the High Low Sports Podcast. See ya. What's up, everybody? It's Kelsey from the High Low Sports Podcast, and we recently partnered with Fubotv. What is Fubotv? Fubotv is a service to broadcast live TV over the internet, no cable required. Watch your favorite teams, network shows, news, and movies on over 100 plus channels. You get channels like CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox. You can watch all the games. So go ahead, click that link in our bio, and get started on your 7-day free trial. And stay tuned to some more great programming right here on the Unhinged Sports Network.
And welcome back, guys. If you just heard our network sponsors over there, Fanatics and Fubotv, proud partners of the Unhinged Sports Network. I love having them on our side. And we are now done with our Bayern Love Fest. So if you did tune in for the first part, you got tired of us talking all Bayern, don't worry, we're done. We are moving on to the more compelling matchup of today. Atletico Madrid heading to Stamford Bridge, down 1-0 on aggregate. and facing a Chelsea team who is without Mason Mount and Jorginho. And I think it's safe to say Mason Mount has been one of the bright spots for this Chelsea team all season long. Kind of a guy you're going to hold your hat on for the next, it seems like the next long while for Chelsea as one of their exceptional midfielders. Kai Havertz not performing admirably in their league game this last week. However, they did get a chance to rest Timo Werner and some other members of this highly powered offensive Chelsea team. So this is going to be a very interesting game heading to Stamford Bridge for Atletico, who has the difficult task of trying to break down Chelsea. I mean, 5 consecutive clean sheets for Chelsea and have only conceded twice since Thomas Tuchel has taken over for this squad. And that's just going back to January. So it'll be very interesting coming forward, but I feel like Atletico might have that opportunities at Stamford Bridge to take this one to Chelsea. But Hector, we'll go with you. And what did you see in this Leg 1 matchup that maybe has you intrigued for how this Leg 2 might go?
These are two very evenly matched teams. I think you look at both ends, the goalkeeper position. I think two very good goalkeepers. Funny how we mentioned how there's a lot of Mendy's in here, and I mean Mendy. There's a reason why they went out and got Mendy, Eduardo Mendy, to basically take over for Kepa.
Yeah.
He's reliable. He's between the sticks. He's gonna get the job done. You look at Atletico Madrid side. They have Jan Oblak. I'm a die on this island for the rest of my life. Jan Oblak is the world's best goalkeeper right now, and I will stand by that island, and I will not change my opinion. Even though
I love Jan Oblak, so you don't have to convince me too much. I agree. I think he's a fantastic goalkeeper as well.
But yeah, the back line's very solid. I'd probably give it to Atletico Madrid. I mean, Hermoso, and it's crazy to think once again that I think we mentioned this before. They lost Diego Godin, arguably one of the best center backs, at least when he was in his prime, and they got better. Their back line is just very solid. Don't sleep on Chelsea's back line. Clearly, they only allowed 2 goals since the new manager has taken over Tuchel. So I mean, this team has the defense, and then obviously midfield. I definitely would say it's fairly even on both ends. I mean, and Conte, I think that's gonna be a big boost for Chelsea is to get N'Golo Conte back. But then on the other end, you're still looking at Thomas Lemar, you're still looking at Marcos Llorente, you're still looking at Koke. It's still a very solid team. And then up top, obviously, you have Olivier Giroud, Timo Werner, maybe Zayek, maybe see Christian Pulisic. And then over at Atletico Madrid side, you have João Felix and Luis Suarez. And don't forget Dembele coming off the bench.
Yeah.
This is what, I mean, obviously it kind of sucks that this is in the round of 16 because this feels like this would be a really good quarterfinal, semifinal, even the final.
Yeah.
This would be a really good matchup. And unfortunately, you were going to see it in the early parts of the knockout stages. Both teams look really good. I mean, 2 really good managers. Obviously, Diego Simeone. Both managers are really good. This is such a good matchup, and it's respectively so that this is how you end the round of 16 is by having these 2 go against each other. So for me, it's going to be interesting to watch. Timo Werner is the player that I'm going to highlight, and it's only because he has yet to have lived up to what everybody thought he was going to be when he was brought to Chelsea. Mm-hmm. Maybe Bayern Munich had something in mind with why they didn't fight so hard to get him, and maybe the same thing for Kai Havertz. Maybe Bayern Munich knew something that Chelsea didn't, and why it was so easy for Chelsea to get these guys.
Yeah, I mean that is a fantastic point to talk about because I did mention Kai Havertz. He's absolutely been missing sitters. I mean, he missed, I'd say, about 4 attempts in their weekend game. Obviously, he was doing so without his strike partners in Timo Werner and Olivier Giroud up there. And I feel like I also have to point out, this game shouldn't be 1-0. Olivier Giroud had a moment of absolute brilliance to get a goal. I mean, that overhead kick was just. I'm sorry. I was watching the game and I jumped up and walked around the apartment, half tempted to go running around because that was just nuts. I mean, he pulled that out of a hat. And that's just how creative Giroud can be um, offensively. But yeah, I mean, this Chelsea team. I mean, there's so many weapons. If they could ever find a moment to click, it wouldn't surprise me if it's going to be during a Champions League run like this. If they can get past this performance and go forward, and because Kovacic will be coming back as well in this game. He has already been it has already been announced that he will be starting in midfield and probably playing alongside N'Golo Kante, as you mentioned, coming back as well from injury, getting himself healthy again, and then also having a chance to get a rested Timo Werner and a rested Olivier Giroud into this lineup as well is something that Atletico Madrid has to deal with. And if you're Chelsea and you're Thomas Tuchel and you can come and walk out of this tie with a victory over somebody like Atletico Madrid and Diego Simeone, and just how fantastic this team has been in the long run. I mean, you just think of the history of Atletico Madrid. You're just like, oh yeah, you feel good about yourself if you're this young Chelsea team because they are young still. I mean, most of their players, you're outside of Olivier Giroud, most of them are under 25. I mean, really, N'Golo Kante I think is 27. Kovacic also I think is 27 as well. But most everybody in their attack under 25, and they're all absolutely fantastic and terrifying to watch run. So it is one of those things with Chelsea that who knows what they're about to pull out. And for Atletico, you're coming off a game where, it wasn't perfect, but you had a good game. I mean, if you're Diego Simeone, you're kind of like, all right, guys, yeah, that sucks. We just gave up that goal to Giroud. However, look what else we're doing. Now we just need to get our attack going because really, when it comes down to it, their attack it didn't look good. I mean, there was just it seemed very toothless, their attack, which is something odd to say about a team that has Joao Felix and Suarez up front. Like you just don't expect to hear toothless being referred to as their attack. And then on top of that, they went and drew at Getafe this weekend, a 10-man Getafe, nonetheless. So that's a 0-0 draw at that, and so it's a tough one to swallow if you're Simeone's side, and you're coming into this one. Maybe you need to prove a point. So it wouldn't surprise me if they can do something to do that. But going into Leg 2, how do you think this one plays out? Do you think Chelsea is able to advance, or do you think this is going to be one of those ones that's going to be on the edge of our seat?
I think it's going to be one of those that's going to be in the edge of our seat. And the only reason why I say that is Atletico Madrid needs a win. I mean, they need a win, not only just for Champions League, but they need a win in general because they had a prime opportunity to get themselves a little bit more separated from Barcelona and Real Madrid in the Madrid derby, and they failed to do it. They ended up letting Benzema score a goal, and instead of getting 3 points, they ended up just going and collecting one. Then you go against Getafe, a team that you would imagine Atletico Madrid would beat, but I think that's one of the beauty of La Liga is that there is some teams that are just annoying and they like to ruin people's seasons, and Getafe just happens to be one of those teams. And I will continue to say that about that because Getafe does get on my nerves because they do spoil a lot of Real Madrid seasons as well.
They just have it out for the city of Madrid. I feel like is the number one thing with Getafe.
But aside from that, yeah, this is a must win. They need to get back on track. They're kind of letting La Liga slip through their hands. I honestly told you the way they were looking at the beginning of the season, I wouldn't have shocked me if Atletico Madrid ends up contesting for a treble, and they're kind of falling off. And Joao Felix is definitely not helping that case. He has been very quiet as of lately. Luis Suarez is Luis Suarez, but unfortunately, this isn't Barcelona Luis Suarez. This is Luis Suarez who clearly is getting up there in age. And this is where we need to see more from Joao Felix, kind of help the guy to his side up top. Is gonna be that thing, and so I think you got to find somebody within that attack that can help build something. You have playmakers like Marco Llorente, you have Angel Carrera, you have Koke, you got guys that can definitely get you in the right position. It's the finishing that needs to be fixed, or at least corrected. And kind of how I said Timo Werner is the guy to watch for Chelsea. I think João Felix is once again that guy to watch for Atletico Madrid. Can he cement himself in Atletico Madrid's history? And I think that this is going to be a big, strong, like a really good nail biter of a match. And as much as I love that defense of Atletico Madrid, that attack is very suspect for me. And because of that, I think Chelsea advances with a 0-0 draw.
Okay, wow, that'll be interesting. All the attack for Chelsea, and you to consider Joao Felix and Luis Suarez and not able to get a goal. Very interesting. Very defensive matchup. I can. It wouldn't surprise me. Now, let's put it this way: the way this Champions League season has gone, a 0-0 draw at home at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge seems fitting. a very retro score line, if you will, going to Stamford
I
Bridge.
mean,
And
I just gotta say, man, both teams look really good defensively.
yeah,
It and if I was to say what team could probably break through the defense, I like Chelsea's odds more than I do Atletico Madrid's.
I see that. I can see that, honestly. I mean, Chelsea, since Thomas Tuchel has taken over, they have been fantastic. And we talk about they've only given up 2 goals. Um, However, I do have them giving up a third. And the one thing we haven't had yet in the knockout stage, we almost did. We almost got to a shootout, but unfortunately, Juve and Porto, um, that game just was outstanding. And I do see this going into extra time. And I do see that defensive matchup start to break down the way that you think that'll end up 0-0. However, I do think what happens in early on is you have that moment of brilliance from Joao Felix finding a Luis Suarez sneaking himself onto the back post like he's able to do. He just kind of floats there on that back post. And I think that's going to be early on in the game, and I think that's how Atletico is able to get their goal back, that away goal back, and I do think it's gonna sneak through. It might even be off of missed attempt from Timo Werner or Kai Havertz, just to kind of prove the point that they haven't been that guy right now. I think Chelsea, while they look fantastic, I do think there's that moment of, oh crap, we're still a young bunch and we need to figure out how to perform together, because when you think about it, they've gone from Frank Lampard to now Thomas Tuchel, and but I do have this one going into extra time, and actually I have this going all the way to penalties, and Jan Oblak versus Mendy, who is going to be the guy that stands on their head in this one? And I think, unfortunately for Atletico Madrid, through all their talents, they lose on penalties. It wouldn't surprise me if a guy like Koke, who by all intents and purposes is probably the best midfielder that will be out on the field on Wednesday, and he's the guy that misses their penalty. Because for some reason that would be the most fitting thing to happen to Atletico Madrid. It just seems like the most Madrid thing to happen. They're gonna go to penalties, and then the number one guy, their captain, is gonna be like, crap.
I mean, it's happened before. We've seen Atletico Madrid go to penalties. I mean, a Champions League final was decided on penalties.
No.
And I mean, kind of how you said it was just kind of out of just pure bad luck. They just couldn't get the job done.
Yeah, and so it wouldn't surprise me. That's how it goes, and it's going to be like a 4-5, 5-4 finish on penalties, and Chelsea walks out with a victory. It won't be up to. Honestly, I hate to say it. When it comes to penalties, it's not up to the keeper really. If a keeper makes a save, I feel like it's a mistake from the striker, and I'm saying that as a former keeper myself. I hate to say it, but it's all guessing. There's a little bit of breakdown, obviously, through tape, but
it's more of a mental strain than it is an actual physical challenge. But
yeah, I mean, if you make a stop, it's purely because the guy hitting the ball overthought it, and he tried to be too perfect.
A very obvious tell.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or yeah, very obvious. So that's how I have this one finishing. Chelsea does advance, but it's going to be out by the hair on Christian Pulisic's chinny chin chin, if you will, because now I guess he has a beard, so maybe that doesn't work as much. I'm still thinking babyface Christian, but. So that's how I have this one finishing. So that would round it out with probably one of the more fantastic games of the the knockout stages and get us to the quarterfinal draw, which will be in a week. So that'd be very interesting. But Hector, any final words for you, man?
Oh man, hopefully round 16 has lived up. I mean, we had a major upset already. That was got exciting. We saw the rise of, well, maybe not the rise, but the continuation of two very young, exciting players in Haaland and Mbappe. I saw Barcelona plummet. I mean, as a Real Madrid fan, that makes me slightly feel better about myself. And the way it's looking, it looks like Real Madrid is the only La Liga team to move on to the next round if things go the way we think it's gonna go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
So I mean, it's gonna be, I think it is perfect that this is how it's gonna end with Chelsea and Atletico Madrid. I think it's a really good matchup. I think if you're not somebody that watches soccer as much, I think this is gonna be the game to watch. Yeah. If you didn't get to watch that Porto Juventus game, but I think that this is the time of year. Like, if you're trying to figure out soccer, I think this is the time to really get to know some of these teams, because it is the biggest. It's the biggest show in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about my fandom, and this is how I found soccer, in European soccer especially, was through Champions League play. I talk about 2005 with Istanbul for Liverpool. I got to watch that, but I wasn't a fan of Liverpool at the time. I didn't become a fan of Liverpool until the following seasons, but I did get to witness that, and that was the first thing that ever stuck with me in Champions League play. It's Champions League play, and just the magical moments that just happened in Champions League, because no matter how far out a team seems, I feel like anything's possible in Champions League nights. And that's the beauty of it. I feel like even the fans believe that. If there were fans in the stands, it'd be a completely different game for a lot of these games. And these players, they all believe they all have a chance because they're the best players in their country. They're the best players in their league. So why not have a chance? And so that's very unique. As you saw Porto, who we all kind of wrote off in our first talk about them, and here they were, upsetting Juventus at Juventus, who was one of the odds-on favorites. So it's a very, very unique thing about Champions League soccer. So I definitely agree with you. I think it'll be exciting. But guys, if you guys haven't already done it, I'm going to keep saying it ad nauseum. Go check out Hector and Edward over at the Insert Name FC podcast, at Insert Name FC on Twitter and Instagram. They do a fantastic job, always communicating, always actually reaching out. And if you have a question or anything, let them know. They'll get right back to you. I mean, it's one of the more fantastic follows I have, even before I knew them. I still followed them and enjoyed all their content, and it was always fun. If you guys haven't heard already, they do singing challenges, which is where we got our singing challenge. We already have one member of the club who will be singing, in Edward. There is a possibility both Liverpool and Real Madrid meet in the finals, so neither Hector or I have to sing, and it's just going to be an Edward solo.
There's still a chance.
There's still a chance. Very outside chance for Liverpool to make it there. Real Madrid definitely looks a lot more odds on for making it there, but we'll see. But yeah, guys, go follow Hector and Edward over at Insert Name FC. It's a fantastic follow. And also, if you guys want to, come follow me and DJ over at the High Low Sports Podcast at _low_sports on Twitter. We're also on YouTube, Facebook at High Low Sports. So we love having you guys here. We're more of a general sports talk, whereas Hector and Edward are soccer all the time. I mean, and you guys have had some fantastic interviews as well. Getting some Heath Pierce in there, no big deal or anything.
Yeah, right.
But guys,
it's not like he played at the international level or anything.
Yeah, not at all. Not like he's a superstar and an American folk hero at all. Not at all. Guys, that does it for us today. For Hector and the missing Edward, who we hope will be joining us back again maybe not next week, maybe the week after. We might take next week off. We don't know yet. We'll decide, because we'll have to figure out everything going on with the quarterfinal draw for us to get that going. But guys, we will be back, and we'll let you know when we're back. But until next time,